Here's something that just happened in AI that most people haven't realized yet. The literal co-inventor of the transformer architecture just left Google to join OpenAI. And this is massive. Noam Shazeer co-authored the paper Attention is All You Need back in 2017. That's not just some academic curiosity. That paper invented the foundation that powers ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, basically every single major AI model you've ever talked to. Every AI breakthrough in the last 7 years has been built on Shazeer's work. So when he walks out of Google DeepMind, where Google literally paid $2.7 billion just 2 years ago to bring him back, and joins OpenAI right before their IPO, that's the equivalent of your star quarterback signing with the rival team mid-season. It tells you something massive about where OpenAI thinks the future of AI is going. Google thought they owned the talent war. They threw billions at it. But now OpenAI is pulling the most important researcher in AI history into their corner. Here's the thing, this isn't about who has the most computers or the biggest datasets anymore. This is about who can hire the brilliant minds that invent the next big breakthrough. And that's where the real story gets interesting. Let's back up and talk about who Noam Shazeer actually is and why this matters so much. In 2017, when everyone was still figuring out how to build decent AI models, Shazeer and 7 other researchers published a paper that fundamentally changed everything. It was called Attention is All You Need. The paper introduced something called the transformer architecture. Think of it this way. Before transformers, AI models were like people who could only focus on one word at a time. They'd read, "I went to the store and bought milk," and by the time they got to milk, they'd have forgotten about store. Transformers gave AI the ability to pay attention to entire sentences all at once, understanding how every word connects to every other word. That's why it's called attention. It's literally the attention mechanism that lets AI read context. That one paper launched the entire modern AI revolution. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, every model you've used, they're all transformer-based. It's not an exaggeration to say that Noam Shazeer single-handedly invented the architecture that powers every major AI system in existence today. So when someone like that moves to a different company, it's not just switching jobs. It's like having the inventor of the electric motor join your company. You don't hire that person unless you're planning something extraordinary. Here's where it gets interesting. Google saw exactly what we're talking about and decided they had to have Shazeer at any cost. Back in 2024, Google bought Character AI, a startup that was building conversational AI. The deal was worth roughly $2.7 billion. That's an absolutely staggering amount of money. But here's the key part. The real goal wasn't just to own Character AI's technology. Google specifically brought Noam Shazeer back into the fold to lead the charge on Gemini development. This was Google's attempt to consolidate their AI leadership. They had the company, they had the infrastructure, and now they had the person who literally invented the foundation of modern AI working for them. On paper, this looked like a total power move. Google was saying to the world, "We are assembling the best minds in AI. We're going to maintain our dominance." But here's what happened next. After Shazeer spent 2 years at Google DeepMind working on next-generation Gemini development, essentially helping shape the future of their flagship AI, he decided to leave. He walked out and joined OpenAI. That tells you something profound about what Shazeer thinks the future looks like. It means he sees something at OpenAI that he doesn't see at Google. And that something is probably more interesting to him than a $2.7 billion company ever could be. So let's talk practically about what transformers actually do and why they matter for every single AI interaction you have. Every time you open ChatGPT and ask a question, transformers are processing your words. Every time you chat with Claude, every time you talk to Gemini, that's all transformers working behind the scenes. The transformer architecture is what lets these models understand language the way humans do. Here's a concrete example. If you ask an AI model, the bank executive decided to leave after the financial collapse, a transformer can figure out that leave means resign in this context, not physically walk away. It understands how all the words relate to each other across the entire sentence. That's not magic. It's the attention mechanism doing the work. Older AI models would have struggled with this because they processed words sequentially. By the time they got to the word executive, might have forgotten about financial collapse. Transformers changed that game. They look at the whole picture at once. Now, why does this matter to you? Because transformers are the reason AI got good at reasoning, writing, and understanding nuance. Without transformers, we'd still have clunky chatbots that can barely hold a conversation. Every breakthrough in AI from 2017 to today, every improvement in how well models understand you, is built on Shazeer's invention. He didn't just write a paper, he created the DNA of modern AI. This hiring is part of something bigger that's happening in AI right now, a talent war between OpenAI and Google DeepMind over who gets to invent the future. On one side, you've got Google. They own massive infrastructure, decades of research, and seemingly endless resources. They own DeepMind. They have Gemini. They have quantum computing divisions. They are the established power. On the other side, you've got OpenAI, younger, leaner. But with the explosive growth of ChatGPT and a direct line to what regular people actually want from AI. And right now, OpenAI is winning the architect's seat at the table. Pulling Shazeer away from Google is a massive statement. It says, we're not just good at scaling up existing ideas, we're good enough to attract the original architects. Google's response will be telling. They could counter-hire or accelerate their own projects. But here's the thing, you can't just replace someone like Shazeer with a check. When the literal co-inventor of Transformers wants to work somewhere else, it means he believes that's where the next breakthrough will happen. And when he believes that, other top researchers start to believe it too. This is how brain drain works. One move like this starts a cascade. Researchers leave. Innovation accelerates somewhere new. And the whole AI landscape changes. Now let's talk about why Shazeer's move specifically happens right now, right before OpenAI's IPO. An IPO is when a company goes public, when it opens up to regular investors and its valuation gets tested by the market. OpenAI going public is going to be one of the biggest events in tech history. We are talking about a company that changed the entire AI landscape. And when you're about to go public, what matters? Trust. Momentum. Narrative that you're hiring the best talent in the world. Having Noam Shazeer on your payroll, the actual transformer guy, isn't just good for engineering. It's good for your IPO story. It tells investors, we don't just own the current generation of AI, we own the people inventing the next generation. Beyond the IPO, though, there's something deeper. Shazeer is being brought in as lead for architecture research at OpenAI. That's not a cleanup role. That's not managing existing projects. That's a role specifically designed to invent what comes after GPT. OpenAI clearly sees a ceiling with current methods. They need new architectural ideas to push past it. And they need the person who invented the last paradigm to help them invent the next one. This is a signal that OpenAI is thinking decades ahead. But wait, there's something you should know about what this really signals. So here's how architectural research actually works and why someone like Shazeer matters so much. AI breakthroughs come in two flavors. First, there's scaling. You take an existing architecture and make it bigger, train it on more data, throw more computing power at it. That's what's been driving most AI progress lately. More GPUs, more parameters, more tokens. Bigger generally means better, but there's a ceiling. Eventually, you hit a wall where throwing more resources at the same architecture doesn't help. You need a new idea. That's where architectural innovation comes in. Shazeer's attention mechanism was exactly that, a new idea that let models work in ways that weren't possible before. It unlocked possibilities that scaling alone never could. Creating these breakthroughs requires a specific kind of genius. It's not just understanding how AI works. It's imagining how AI could work differently. It's seeing a limitation everyone else has accepted as permanent and thinking, what if we change the fundamental approach? That's what architectural researchers do. They take risks on radical ideas, and the best ones like Shazeer have a track record of being right. When OpenAI brings someone like that on board, they are signaling that they are about to attempt something structural, not an incremental improvement, a fundamental rethinking of how AI systems are built. That's the kind of move you make when you're serious about inventing the future, not just iterating on the present. Here's what this all means. We're at a fascinating moment in AI history. The race isn't just about who has the biggest model or the most compute anymore. It's about who has the brilliant minds that can invent the next paradigm. Noam Shazeer moving to OpenAI says loud and clear, the architecture wars are starting, The next breakthrough isn't scaling, it's innovation. For you, the viewer, this matters because it signals where AI is heading. If OpenAI is hiring the transformer architect, they're planning to fundamentally rethink how AI works. That could mean faster models, more efficient models, models that understand things in ways the current generation can't. We don't know yet. That's the whole point. Shazeer doesn't move for just another version of GPT. He moves because he thinks something genuinely new is about to happen. Keep your eye on OpenAI's announcements in the next year or two. This hire is a signal that something's coming. Watch for breakthroughs in model efficiency, new architectural patterns, maybe entirely new ways of approaching intelligence. The transformer changed everything in 2017. What Shazeer invents next could change everything again. Follow for daily AI news to stay on top of what's happening at the frontier, because this kind of talent change is just the first indicator of a much bigger story about to unfold.